Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Thursday Super Cup Series here at Texas Motor Speedway. Definitely exciting one here tonight. It's mile-and-a-half track. Of course, it's a very unique mile-and-a-half track that recently has pretty much been reconfigured and repaved to make 1 and 2 just a little bit wider. Also, kind of makes it a lot like a short track corner, considering you have to have a little bit of break going into 1 and 2. Of course, my name is Brian Britt. I'm joined in the booth by none other than my partner in crime, Big Al, or Alfonso Nixon. Al, how are you doing tonight?
Well, I will say that the stars at night are big and bright, and that's right. That's all I got. But I'm doing pretty good, Brian. Excited to be here tonight as we are going to be racing in Texas, and this is definitely going to be an exciting one. And it looks like we got a packed house to boot.
That we do. So it's definitely going to be a packed house. A lot of drivers going to be making their way out to the racetrack today. So you can definitely put your finger on the pulse of the ISCA competition, and it is very stout right here tonight. A lot of very, very fast drivers. Let's talk a little bit about the race facts of this for this evening's race. Of course, this is the Texas Day Brazil at Texas Motor Speedway. 167 laps on the docket here tonight. Stages are 35 and 75. Of course, the race will be concluding on lap 167 to 168. Barring we don't have any green white checkers, which could very well be a possibility if we get a late race caution that causes all these guys to be all together. Of course, 4 sets of tires down in the pits, 5 altogether. Fuel window is about 62 laps, give or take, depending on whether you're in the draft or if you're in the kind of the clean air. That's pretty much going to be the main thing. Guys are in the midst of qualifying right now. But definitely excited to see what these guys have in store. I mean, I don't know if you've had a lot of experience with this track, Big Al, but it is kind of tricky getting into 1 and 2.
Yeah, I have not, Brian, especially except since the reconfig. But I'll tell you what, it looks like it's going to be a fun one.
Oh, it very much is. Let's take a quick look at the point standings coming into tonight's race, of course. And we have entered, I do believe, the playoffs pretty much of the ISCA series. Patrick Gitter right now at the top of the board with 1 win. 57 points up on Brandon Pastelacqua, who has gotten a win as well. I do believe if I'm not mistaken, I think he won last week. Definitely a fantastic performance there from that driver. Third place, of course, Josh Schaffner. He is the only other winner so far in this round of the playoffs. And, of course, Matt DeCiani sits in 4th on points. 5th place, Brian Johnson. 6th place, Chris Johnson. 7th place, Shane Parrish. 8th, Darren Mullins. 9th, Kenny Powell. Greg Wachinski, of course, in 10th. And looking at the next round here, I do believe these are the guys that are actually below the line. Well, actually, no, I'm sorry, I'm mistaken. We saw Greg Wachinski and I think Power actually below the line right now. Randy Mullins is below the line. Ryan Strunk as well. We're actually moving on to the round of 8. So it's going to be very important these guys get as many points as they possibly can here tonight at Texas. I mean, we saw, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, not long ago, we saw Mark Sanchez and J.C. Evans get kicked out of the title hunt.
Yeah, and there's going to be some other drivers that are going to be following suit to boot, if you will. The thing is, you got to get those playoff points when you can, Brian, and that means the first 2 stages here are going to be pretty dang important, especially if you'll get one of those guys that's below or on or about that cut line.
Taking a look at some of the track facts right now as we see a big hit on the wall there for Blair Holloman as he's in the midst of qualifying. 91 degrees track temp. That's quite hot, actually, for this time of year in Texas right now. Just considering, I know in the A Opens at the moment, the track temp is about 80 degrees. So that's a little over 10 degrees hotter than what we've been seeing in A Open competition. And that's what a lot of these drivers use as kind of their measuring stick, if you will, to kind of get themselves prepared for the ISCA series. So that's going to be something curious. And I think that might explain as well why Blair Holloman got loose on exit out of 2, just considering the different temperature makes it a little bit more slicker out here on this track. And it also could cause tire wear to happen a little bit more prematurely or should I say faster than we would see in normal competition. But also keep in mind, as the day goes on, it's going to cool down. So that's another thing we're going to have to watch out for.
Yeah, one more quicker, gonna cool down, and we're watching out for it all. Looks like qualifying's coming to an end.
That is the truth. We'll go ahead and take a quick step away. We'll play our national anthem, pay some attention to our sponsors, and we'll be right back with our starting grid. Thanks for watching the ISCA. We'll be right back.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we walked were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular amongst birds singing out, yeah, through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And now, race fans, for the most famous words in motorsports.
I just got three things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms, from camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgot.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I'm so comfortable, bro. We get a hug, man. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
Experience traditional Brazilian cuisine, served with the hospitality that Texas is famous for. Here at Texas de Brazil, you simply turn your card to green, and expert carvers serve you fine cuts of beef, lamb, pork, chicken, and Brazilian sausage. Turn your card to red when you want a break. Then repeat. Make reservations now at texasdebrazil.com.
Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Thursday Super Cup Series. We have the grid set for this evening's action. Of course, Shane Parrish is going to be starting on the pole with a 29.194. Of course, Patrick Gitter is going to be starting in second place. Third place, I do believe, is going to be Brandon Pasalacqua. Greg Wachinski starts in fourth. Fifth place, Chris Johnson. Of course, Jeffrey Souza starts in sixth place. Seventh place, Miller Bonds. Eighth place, Randy Mullins. Ninth place, David Centini, of course, new driver to the series. Mark Sanchez starts in 10th. 11th place, Cody Colley. 12th place, Ryan Strunk. 13th, J.C. Evans. Derek Heitman, glad to see him back. He's going to be starting in 14th. And 15th, Brian Johnson.
Hey, that's going to put Kenny Powell in 16th with Alexander Carr in 17th, Greg Carr. It's going to be 18th with Darren Mullins in 19th, Randy Belks 20th, Frank Flores in 21st, 22nd sees John Binder, 23rd is Blair Holloman, 24th Kevin Zosiak, 25th is Jeffrey Ford, 26th is Billy Fitzgerald, 27th Al Koslowski, 28th Paul Osen, 29th Barry Stevens, 30th Derek Jacobs, and rounding out this 31-car field is Greg Newsom.
And we were kind of talking during the commercial break there a little bit how impressed we are with the numbers that we're seeing here in the ISCA currently. I mean, this is a lot of drivers showing up here tonight, to race here at Texas. This is going to be interesting. I don't know who's going to win this thing, but I guarantee you the drivers that are fighting for playoff points, they're going to have to deal with a lot of non-playoff drivers, and that's been kind of the conversation piece that we've been having over the last several weeks.
Man, you took it right from me because I was wondering just that thing. I was going to ask you just that very question. A lot of drivers here tonight, packed house. So the question I was going to ask you is, how do you feel, when you guys out there that are trying to make that, Elite Eight, and next thing you know, it's like,
Well, ain't nothing you could really do. I mean, they have every right to race you. I mean, it is going to be an obstacle that you're going to have to deal with, and that's just going to make, I think, track position just that much more worthwhile. So I think that Shane Parrish, Patrick Gitter, Brandon Pasalacqua, these guys qualifying very well. I think it's going to look really good here because it's a very difficult to pass at this new iteration of this racetrack. As we see the pace car getting prepared to take that left turn down pit road. Shane Parrish getting prepared to go up through the gears as we prepare to enter the Geico restart zone. I got to stop saying prepare. I said it a lot. And there it is. Green flag out in the air for the first time here at Texas Motor Speedway. What a restart there from Shane Parrish. But got to say, what an awesome start from Patrick Gitter. He almost matched him step for step on that start. It looks like he's going to fall right behind the 66. And, of course, Brandon Pasalacqua going to see if he can't chase these two EPI drivers down.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what, the Paradigm guys, they're definitely wanting to make themselves known as after having a very strong finish last week. This first lap getting to go looks like we're starting to single out just a little bit, Brian, but I'm going to tell you what, racing is going to be at a premium here tonight as these spots are going to count for all drivers involved in this contest.
Oh, yeah, points are going to be definitely very, very important for every single driver out here, and maybe not even points for playoffs, but points for as well the Cup Series as well, because we do have the 12-week season that is just recently started as well. So that's going to be another important thing that a lot of drivers that are new to this series are going to really want to make their presence known for, because there's two seasons really going on at the same time. The long one, the Super Cup season, and as well the Cup Series, which is a lot shorter, but still means a lot to these drivers to win that championship as well.
Look here, points equal positions, and right now the 4-car, Brian Johnson doing just that. He is trying to best himself as he has now moved up to 11th place. And these guys are going to be trying to stay in line as much as they can, Brian, because you don't want to burn your stuff up too quick, especially on a track like Texas.
No, you're right. I mean, burning your stuff up is going to be something that these guys are really going to try to keep themselves from doing. They're going to try to avoid that, and the way to do that is just not be quite as aggressive in 1 and 2, and as well in 3 and 4. You can drive through 3 and 4 flat out, essentially, but you shouldn't. You really want to kind of burp the gas a little bit, just so the tires don't, scrub too much. So that's going to be one of the key factors these guys are really going to have to try to keep from doing that. And 1 and 2, you're going to want to try to back it up and get the launch off of the corner to save the equipment. So it's, you could be aggressive and be Superman at a track like this, Big Al, and go to the front, but you won't last there long if you have overextended yourself.
Well, Shane Parrish definitely, I'll be feeling pretty good as he is currently showing the way right here today. And that's got to feel pretty good for these guys. Started on the pole and they're still making it happen here 5 laps in. Now, got us back there behind him, Patrick Gitter. How patient is Patrick going to be? That's the question we're going to see. And we've seen Gitter just back way off and kind of float back and save, and conserve. Hey, but I don't know what his game plan is going to be tonight. I think we're just going to have to watch it unfold.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I think Gitter, of course, is always showing race-winning pace, and he's really, every time we've seen him on the racetrack, he's shown that he knows exactly what he's doing. I mean, he has a 7,000-plus I rating for a reason. He knows exactly what he needs to do in order to win a race. And, if Shane drives away on him and burns his stuff up, he's probably going to be perfectly fine with that. But then again, Shane Parrish is not known for driving away and burning his stuff up. He's like the last guy you expect to do that. He seems to always have the best long-run pace out of all the EPI drivers. So I'm curious to see how that plays out. But we are starting to see some pressure, though, from Brandon Pastelacqua onto Patrick Gitter, as well as Chris Johnson. What an awesome qualifying position for him. He's rocking some new colors tonight. Of course, he's on that Paradigm team as well.
And then there's the 7,000 I rating. You got to talk about that elephant in the room. But, man, look, another guy out here making it happen tonight here. Got a lot of racing going on between the 12 and the 79. That's Miller Bonds. Miller's definitely been shaking it up a little bit. Now, David Centeni, he started this thing, looks like, back in 9th place. He is slowly starting to make his way up, battle for position. So that's currently where the battle is for right now. But, yeah, the Paradigm guys are definitely, we felt their presence here last week, to say the least.
Yeah, 100%. Very impressed with what I'm seeing from Centeni. Of course, he's got the preferred line. He's on the bottom side. That's kind of where you want to run. And there goes Miller Bond sideways in the middle of 3 and 4. What a save. No caution is going to fly, but it's not over yet. You see the 77 coming up very quickly on the back of the 12 there. Miller Bond's almost getting turned around. Man, gotta give him credit, though. He saved that race car.
And that's kind of why we were watching that area right there, just being all on top of it. You got to really appreciate this production crew. But, yeah, way to power through it. Miller Bonds, wondered how much that's going to affect the handling and characteristics of that 12 machine here tonight.
No, I think it definitely could very well change the handling there, as he's going to drive underneath the 77. As soon as he caught that race car, he got right back to battle. He's trying to get his positions back, and he is now battling with the 77 of Ryan Strunk, trying to work his way back forward.
Ryan Strunk's car is just handling like garbage right now. That's definitely got to be what he is saying to his crew, because we've been watching him. He's just got his hands full trying to keep that 77 machine pointed in the right direction. And I don't think he's the only one, though, Brian.
No, I think a lot of drivers are probably not used to the way this track is behaving as well, just considering the temperature is a little bit hotter than I think they probably anticipated. But if they had ran NIS this week, they would know the NIS series was about as hot as this. You see some more sideways guys ahead here. I do believe, I'm not sure exactly who just got sideways, but I saw somebody. This has kind of caused a little bit of a cluster here, right here, I do believe, around Centeni.
Yeah. We've just got a series of small tragedies that are just waiting to unfold right here. It'll catch up. Just give us a minute.
Now look at Jeffrey Souza, though. He's been making some big moves. He's almost on the edge of the top 5 here, but we're seeing a big gap of separation between 5th and 6th right now. Over a second right now between Greg Wyszynski and Souza. Souza still battles with the 79 of David Centeni. Side-by-side at a track like this slows you down. A lot like Darlington, where if you're side-by-side, you're going to be moving a whole lot slower.
Yeah, but nobody wants to check up either, though. That's another thing. These guys will be trying to take as much momentum they can, because when you start this thing, it feels like your car is kind of on a rail, but, man, it goes from on a rail to oh hell real quick on tracks like Texas.
It definitely does. I mean, and yeah, 100%. I mean, that wall comes up very, very fast, as well as it's easy to get loose at this track. I did quite a bit of some A opens this week myself, just to kind of I like this track. It's not a bad track, but it can be quite tricky, especially coming out of 2. It's very easy to get loose out of 2, considering you kind of have to trail brake to get into that corner, and then try to get back to the gas as quick as you can. But if you get back to it too soon, you could very easily get loose, and you kind of use the gas pedal to steer out of turn 2, which is kind of a short track technique that you see a lot. Not at a 1.5 miles quite as much. But Jeffrey Souza starting to get a little bit wiggly here as he's still battling with Centeni. One person I'm really surprised is running so well is the 84 of Cody Colley. He's up in the top 10 right now, right in front of Bonds. Bonds has recovered quite nicely, back up into the top 10 as well. He's up to 9th.
Yeah, we was waiting to see what the report was going to be as Bonds totally drifted through the corner, but it seems that now all is right within his world as he is kind of mounting the charge back to the front, like you said.
And this is pretty much where all the excitement is happening on this racetrack. Of course, I do believe Miller Bonds at the moment battling with Derek Heitman. Now, Heitman's a driver we have not seen in ISCA competition for quite some time. Oh, they're almost about to touch as Bonds gets a little bit tight up on Derek Heitman. Of course, that spin that Bonds had could very well be affecting the handling of that race car.
Is Kenny Powell now going to be running by Ryan Strunk? That's going to put Powell up into 13th place. That's up 3 positions from once he started. That just shows a lot of guys out here, man, just slowly kind of trying to make it work here as we're about halfway through this stage before it's officially in the books. So now I think it's guys it's time to kind of put the hammer down a little bit more and kind of let's go.
Yeah, I think so for sure. We're seeing a lot of drivers suffering from a lot of fall off, a lot more than I've seen in the A Opens. We're seeing almost over half a second. I mean, 0.8 of a second, almost even a second of fall off right now. As you can see, Derek Heitman, last lap was a 30.4. That was almost a second of fall off right there compared to his fastest lap of 29.656. He is desperately trying to get by Cody Colley here. But love this. You can see on board here with Heitman, you can see how much he's having to really play with the wheel coming off of turn 2. And it just shows you how much you really have to be careful out of there. Also can hear the tires making that scrubbing noise as well. That happens a lot at this track.
Well, just never a good feeling, when you just know that you're just scrubbing your tires off that much. I mean, what do? You really just kind of got to power through it. I guess the question is, I just can't wait to ask guys, is how are your setups going? And are these setups kind of set up more for the longer run? You said you had done some racing here. Did you feel that you had speed for the longer runs, or did you kind of have it set up for the shorter runs?
No, I definitely had it set up for the longer run. I mean, that's kind of, I think, the key for a track like this. I mean, you definitely, especially with this track being such a wide racetrack, a lot of times you get long green flag runs. So you're going to want to have that long run. As of course, I should mention we updated the battle here for the lead. We have seen Patrick Gitter. He has taken the lead from Shane Parrish, so definitely a great job there for him. Of course, we were wondering about that, if what his plans were, but it looks like he has been just pretty much biding his time until he was able to take the lead from Parrish. Of course, now that he's into clean air, though, I'm wondering if that car is going to handle any differently. I know a lot of times we see it to where drivers are always looking to get clean air, but sometimes when they get it, they're not exactly used to how it drives. Because when you're in dirty air, it handles completely different, and if you get used to that, it can be hard to transition to the clean.
Well, it's not even just that. It's the amount of it's the amount of control the guy behind you has by where he puts himself on you, if that makes any sense. It's the effect that the car behind you has on the air of your car as well.
No, 100%. No, I agree. Yeah, you could very much mess somebody up quite substantially at a track like this when playing with their air. Like if you get right on somebody's quarter panel, you could disrupt the air that's going to their spoiler. Of course, these cars are already kind of they don't have much of a spoiler, but you also can disrupt the air that is coming through the diffusers, the rear diffuser that is, of course, runs underneath the bottom of these race cars. If you get up close enough to somebody's rear end, you can disrupt that air and cause them to lose a little bit of downforce.
Kenny Powell now making his way. Yeah, he's making his way inching slowly up to the top 10, Brian, and that's where he's going to need to be. And it looks like he's got about 10 laps to get there. If he can just make up one more position, that will actually solidify him at least one stage point. Now, I'm sure he'd like to go up a couple more, but right now he's going to have to focus on trying to catch and get around that 12-4 to Miller Bonds. Man, that just seems to be a tall order for Moses. He kind of drifted through turn there, I do believe, somewhere around lap 8 or 10, and has clawed his way all the way back up into the top 10. So as he tags the wall, that's going to allow Kenny Powell to slide right by on the inside.
Yeah, Miller Bonds always looks incredibly fast, but it looks like he's been having an issue. Oh, he is still having issues. Car just looks like it's not handling very well. As you see, J.C. Evans is probably going to get by as well, and he's probably just praying and hoping and praying the caution comes out soon so you can get a fresh set of tires on that thing, and he'll get what he wants very soon. Caution's going to be coming out in less than now 10 laps. He's just going to have to try to make it there. But with the way he's handling right now, it looks like he might not make it.
He might be the actual cause of the caution from the way that car is handling.
It looks very much like he is on edge. He's sliding around. I mean, he's drifting through some of these corners.
I was wondering how much of an impact that was going to actually have, because he did actually drift through it, and I think we're seeing that for whatever reason. I think whatever was holding on that thing is finally done let go, and he's the one that's holding on at this point.
Yeah, he's just going to try to see if he can at least stay on the lead lap here. Speaking of which, we see pretty much the top 30 are still on the lead lap at the moment. Of course, Al Kozlowski is 3 laps down, so not sure exactly what happened with the 88 Speedway Angels machine. But it looks like he has ran into some trouble himself. We're seeing some smoke coming out of some drivers ahead here. I think that's still Miller Bonds struggling, as he is probably in danger of falling outside of the top 20 here.
We got the 88 Kozlowski. He is currently down pit road. Not seeing the repairs required flag on that 88 Speedway Angels car, but we will be definitely keeping an eye out to see if we can find out what's going on.
Of course, Patrick Gitter has been the other dominator essentially of this season, has a ton of wins, and it looks like he's trying to see if he can possibly get yet another stage win on his resume, as he's got about a 0.2 of a second gap on Shane Parrish right now. Chris Johnson looking really good. One of the better Paradigm drivers here tonight, which is, I shouldn't say it's surprising, but I thought Pasalakwa was going to be really strong. Of course, he's in 4th. But, of course, Chris Johnson has really been working hard, and he's up into 3rd now. I mean, top 10 right now. Going to be some awesome points for that 99.
Yeah, that whole team is really, like I said, they're making a statement as the 88 is back onto the track. I think with 6 laps to go, they're slowly going to be pulling him up into their rearview mirror. That might be a factor. Depends on which way he decides to go. We have to watch that. But right now, the 21 car, that continues to be the headline. Patrick Gitter still doing what he does best, leading laps and winning stages.
Yeah, definitely. Also, I got to say I'm impressed with that David Centini guy. I mean, he's up there and fighting right now, I do believe, for the 7th place position with Greg Wachinski. He's hit the ground running. This is a new driver to this series. Really showed up and has kind of been sending a message, showing all the guys that, hey, I'm to be taken seriously, as he's up to 6th, actually, I should say.
Yeah, we got quite a few new guys and some old guys. A lot of cars here tonight throughout this field, Brian. I mean, I think we still got, 30 cars that are still running in this thing? That's a big field for a Thursday night.
100%. Here we go. We're battling for the lead, though. Shane Parrish, who had gotten passed by Patrick Gitter a little bit ago, is now challenging for the lead here as we come to 2 laps to go here in stage number 1. And he's not quite able to get it done. Patrick Gitter able to defend on the top side here, and he moves back down in front of the 66. Wonder what Shane is going to be able to do here. He sizes up yet another run. You could tell how hard it is to pass, especially with how similar the speeds are for both of these race cars. If they get to racing hard enough, this could bring Chris Johnson into the fray. And here we go again. Shane Parrish tries to get the pass, but still cannot get it done. And it looks like the sun has started to come out as well at Texas Motor Speedway. We were kind of under some cloud cover. So we're kind of seeing a lot of variables out here as well when it comes to the track conditions. Partly cloudy out here. It looks like Shane Parrish might get it done here.
He's going to let it hang out, and he is on the inside. He has achieved a dominant position. Question is going to be how big of a run is 21? How big of a run is it going to take for him to get around to the inside?
I don't know. I think he's running out of time, though, as they exit turn number 4. Shane Parrish is going to cross the line as your Stage 1 winner. Started from the pole position. Got passed by Patrick Gitter, but fortunately for him, he was able to get the lead back and definitely made for a thrilling stage finish. Of course, Patrick Gitter finished in 2nd place. Chris Johnson, 3rd place. Brandon Pasalacqua, 4th. Derek Heitman worked his way all the way up to 5th. David Centeni in 6th. Brian Johnson, 7th. Greg Wachinski, 8th. Randy Mullins in 9th. And Kenny Powell, definitely a good job to him. He gets his way up into the 10th place position. With that, we're going to take a quick step away. We'll come back and we'll talk to our Stage 1 winner.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms. From camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I feel talking, bro. We get a hug. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, you see they are completing their yellow flag pit stops. If we've just concluded stage number 1 as they lift up the right sides, or should I say left sides of the race cars and drop down off the jacks. Big moves from Derek Heitman, able to gain some spots off of pit road. He comes off 4th. And, of course, Shane Parrish able to hold the lead off of pit road. I do believe we're going to be joined in the booth by our Stage 1 winner, Mr. Parrish.
How you doing, guys?
Doing fine, Shane. Definitely excellent performance there in your Stage 1. You got passed by Heitman, or not Heitman, Patrick Gitter, but then it seemed like you were able to work your way back. Walk us through how that worked out. I mean, were you just trying to save tires? Is that why Patrick Gitter was able to get around you?
I drove it real hard there for the 10-15 laps, just up here, just trying to see what it would do. Got the tires hot. Tried to start maintaining what the laps I did before and couldn't. So just cooling them down, let him come around, and then let it come back to me at the end there and see if I could get it back. And right there in the last lap, I did. So, got good cars. Love the setup. It does real good on the long run. I think it's pretty tight right now with the conditions, but I think we'll loosen up as the night gets a little bit cooler and get some dark going on here.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see how the transition is going to happen there with the cooler track. How are you guys going to try to keep up with that? Do you already have a game plan?
Yeah, I don't think either one of us have a game plan. I'm just going to work on it as I went through all the officials this week. I had a really, really good luck and won a few races. I think I don't do much changing on the setup myself. I just kind of drive it a little bit different angles, braking, just try to do a little bit there. I don't change much on the setup unless we get down to a 10-lap shootout, and we're in a whole other ball game.
100%. Well, definitely an excellent job to you here tonight. Hopefully you're able to kind of get it, seal the deal. I know you've had a little bit of bad luck here recently. I'd love to see you get back to victory lane, a lot like what we've seen Gitter be able to do here. But definitely looks like you're going to be moving on to the next round. How much are you focused on the playoffs?
I'm not. Honestly, I'm not focused on them at all. I'm just trying to learn how to drive, become a better driver, and working with the team. EPI, love everything they do, working a lot with Conti. I'm just trying to get better, focus on points in the next couple years.
Well, I don't know. It seems like you might be a contender for the title here this year. So I mean, even though you might not be focusing on points, we're definitely we're focusing on them, and it looks like you have a really good shot at it, Shane. But I know you kind of shouted out EPI. You want to shout them out again, and maybe shout out anybody else?
Just shout out to you guys up in the booth. Kenny, thanks for the league. Really appreciate Mr. Conti and EPI and everything they do.
All right, Shane. Well, thanks for your time, brother. Best of luck to you, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you later.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be here and get to talk later. You guys have a good time up there in the booth.
We shall. That, of course, is Shane Parrish, driver of the 66 EPI machine. Definitely fantastic performance so far in Stage 1. Started on the pole, led 18 laps, and, of course, is now out front again here as we get ready to start Stage number 2. Pace car lights are out. What do you think is going to be different about this stage, Big Al? This one goes to 75, mind you.
Well, that sun's setting, and that's something that everybody's got to take into consideration whether they want to or not. And the next thing is drivers have already had that. They've got the jitters out. And going green flag racing for this entire stage, that's something that you really don't get a chance to do in a lot of the other races. So, guys, they have a chance to go back now, get the drawing board, figure out what they need to do. Now it's time to put up and show out.
No, yeah, I definitely agree with that for sure. And this is definitely one of the best leagues that you can run in the iRacing service, considering you go to the officials. You're not going to get a green flag run like you'd see in the ISCA. So not a whole lot of ways to prepare for this, but looks like these guys have definitely brought their A game tonight, though, for sure. We have a lot of different shops and a lot of different teams being represented out here, and we'd love to see this competition.
That's a lot of data, man. Whenever you just run 35, that's a lot of data. Lights off on the pace car.
Pace car heading down pit road as we get ready to enter the Geico restart zone, and Shane Parrish up through the gears once again as the green flag flies for the second time here tonight. And Patrick Gitter looking a lot like he did in that first restart. Of course, falls down right behind the 66, as well as Chris Johnson holding that third place position. Of course, Heitman, though, has been playing leapfrog all throughout this race thus far. Oh, almost saw Tenney, I think, in the backdrop, hit the wall coming out of 2.
Yeah, that start was definitely reverberated. Not everybody got off at the same time, and you could see that shockwave move throughout the entire field. Some drivers not getting a good launch at all, and that's really affecting how this field is stacking up. It's almost, you can almost see at the point where from Brian Johnson back, where those guys really kind of struggled, and they're still kind of struggling to catch up now, Brian.
I'll tell you who has really been making some moves, Kenny Powell, but look at that, almost 3 wide further back as Cody Colley tries to take him there. And man, this racing is getting very, very exciting. Everybody trying to make as many moves as they possibly can here. As you see J.C. Evans trying to work, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, on I think that's Randy Mullins there. No, that's actually, I don't want to get that wrong because I've gotten messages from Randy about that. I think that's actually the 64 of Darren Mullins. As Cody Colley and J.C. Evans duel it out back here for, I do believe, the 11th place position.
Yeah, both father and son are running side by side, so you might get a little reprieve as Brian Johnson to the inside, 3 wide condition there, 2 G&G teammates and a Paradigm guy.
And you can see Brian Johnson got really tight off the exit of 2. Very easy to do that. If you drive it in too deep, in 1 and 2, you could get tight off the exit. And that's exactly what happened to the 4. Now he is being challenged by Randy Mullins in that 54 machine. Also, Greg Wachinski having to try to hold off the father of Darren Mullins, the father of Randy. And Kenny Powell has been really able to avoid a lot of this controversy as he has worked his way up to the 7th place position, now behind Brandon Pasalacqua. So G&G as well trying to send some messages as well, I do believe.
Closing the door on his former G&G teammate, but Brian Johnson definitely got his hands full right now as he's got J.C. Evans on the inside challenging him for position. For whatever reason, Brian's seeming to be going the wrong direction, and I'm sure he's probably not having fun right now, Brian.
No, not at all. Now, of course, knowing him, he's very much a guy that likes to tinker on race cars and really work on them. So I'm assuming he's really got some probably ideas in his mind right now to maybe work on that car.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you one person who's kind of feeling a different fate. That's his brother Chris. His brother Chris is actually running in second place to Shane Parrish. Derek Heitman has now made his way all the way up into third place.
And look at this, how you just talked about the 99 of Chris Johnson. Well, he is now battling for the lead and he almost pushed Shane Parrish. He almost turned him. As you can just tell, that 99 wants to lead so bad as we see the 64 of Darren Mullins just hit the wall.
You're so dramatic.
This is dramatic. This is getting dramatic. I am a dramatic person, though. You're right. As we see side by side, though, for the lead, you can't say this is not exciting.
No, it's, yeah. I've just said you're so dramatic.
But still the 99 of Chris Johnson trying to make something happen on the 66. Not quite able to make it happen. Of course, Derek Heitman is up to third place. Patrick Gitter has fallen now to fourth in the dirty air here. Oh, the 99 gets tied on the exit of 4. And that is going to open the door for the 76 of Derek Heitman. Derek Heitman started, I do believe, outside of the top 10, has worked his way up to second place and possibly could challenge for the lead. 14th?
Starting 14th.
Wow.
That's going to make him our biggest mover of the night thus far. But, Brian, it's not over yet. There's a lot of movement that is going on.
Yeah, for sure. There is a lot of battling that is happening right now. Also, Darren Mullins has been very much moving through this field up to now fourth place. The 64 has got a hot rod underneath him right now. Very fast race car.
You know, I don't see how you could have one of them little yellow, and I'm gonna call that man out. Shane said he doesn't pay attention. I don't see how you could have one of them little yellow banners on the front of your windscreen and not get excited, especially when it comes to the end of a stage, man, because I mean, otherwise, you're just racing for what? You know what I mean? But if you're in this thing, you're racing for something.
Yeah, and of course, even though he does not have the yellow banner on his car, he is a playoff driver. So, I mean, that's the thing about it. So that's one thing we should make our audience aware of, is that the 66 is a playoff driver here. Even though he's not concerned with it, he's not concerned with points. I thought that was very interesting to hear him say that.
But that's usually when you start winning. You know what I mean? That's when you're that's when you're
just having fun.
Boss.
When you're just having fun, you're performing better. That's the way I look at it. But here comes J.C. Evans to the inside of Randy Mullins. Of course, this is for the 10th place position. J.C. Evans, I've got to say, has been having a little bit of bad luck here lately. We saw earlier, or towards the midseason, he was one of the drivers that we were really looking at as most improved. And I'm hoping he can get back to that kind of improvement phase.
Yeah, it's consistency. I think that's what it is, and hopefully they'll be able to figure out that one thing that kind of keeps throwing them off, and turn their luck around, man, and get up there because they should have a yellow banner in their windscreen.
No, for sure. I think that he can fight with the big dogs. I think that JC has got a lot of talent behind that wheel. Also, Mark Sanchez, he's another driver. He was just in the playoffs there, but unfortunately got kicked out.
But Sanchez, I think you're going to see a lot of different things from Sanchez now that he's moved over to the G&G team. I think right now, that he's going to be a breath of fresh air for those guys as they're actually starting a realignment. So I think next year is going to be the year of Sanchez.
Oh, and also J.C. Evans joined the G&G team as well. So, I mean, they have kind of got some fresh blood. And I think the improvement those drivers have shown is what highlighted them to give them that opportunity, or to kind of provoke, the team owner Kenny Powell to kind of give them that opportunity.
Yeah, well, I think definitely they're so far they're definitely making good on it.
But for the most part, we're seeing the field pretty much single file out as we're coming to 20 laps to go in stage 2. This race has just been flying right on by. Of course, Derek Heitman now challenging for the lead. Heitman trying to make the pass on the top side. Derek Heitman, known for being a race winner in the ISCA. We've seen him do it multiple times. And now he comes up against some of the best talent in the ISCA.
Isn't this his first time on this track?
It always is. I don't think it truly is though, because I mean he can't say that forever. I mean he might just say it as a joke now. I don't know. But he has always, if ladies and gentlemen, if you're just starting to watch the ISCA, that's a little bit of an inside joke, because every time we've ever interviewed him, he always says this is his first time at a racetrack. But side by side for the lead, it is starting to definitely heaten up, and you can see that Heitman's not really trying to give Shane the run off the exit. He's trying to pinch him down so he does not get the momentum.
Isn't that the point of it?
100%. The only thing is when you do that, you get a little too close for comfort. But it looks like Shane definitely not going to let him have it easily. And look at that. Derek Heitman almost bump drafting Shane Parrish out of turn 2, and this has brought Chris Johnson into the battle.
Yeah, and David Santini is on his way, man, and he came by 64, and I'm telling you, talk about comfort zone. It got a little bit close. But I don't think right now those guys are really slowing down. Putting the pedal to the metal here is we got 16 laps to go here before this stage is in the books. It'll be 16 after.
This has been an exciting race thus far. And usually these races are, but I got to say that I love to see the popularity, the population of this series just kind of, growing right now. 31 drivers. We haven't seen that in quite some time, and you love to see it. We owe that to all the hard work from Kenny Powell.
And they're not just 31 random drivers, though. I mean, we're talking about 31 class acts here, each a hero and a champion in their own right. And in order for these guys to be able to come here and race this many laps and do it clean, that's a testament to the talent that's down there. These guys just aren't holding steering wheels.
No, you're 100% correct. I mean, all these guys are, very much some of the cream of the crop of the iRacing service. I mean, I'm not saying they're the best, but they're the best that are not pros, I'd say, right?
Yeah, they make it look dang easy. I'll say that.
They definitely do.
Far from it.
But as we see, the battle has been kind of developing here. But for 7th place, Greg Wachinski has been trying to get by the 64 of Darren Mullins. Of course, Darren had worked his way up into the top 5, but I think he was one of the guys that had burned his equipment up early and is now starting to struggle, and I think he's holding back Wachinski, as well as you see Kenny Powell not far back, battling with, of course, son Randy Mullins, as well as J.C. Evans. They are very close there for that 9th place position.
Ooh, the 77 Ryan Strunk.
Oh, there goes Greg. Woo, Greg just got really loose, but somehow was able to keep the momentum, and he is going to make the pass. Wow, he was sideways off of turn 2, but still kept the momentum. You can tell the 5 is starting to get kind of on edge right now.
Well, I think so. They're 3 wide down there right now. I got the 20 forward and both of those Mullins boys there tied up together.
100%. They are racing right now. Brian Johnson as well starting to hit back on his stride as he throws a block on J.C. Evans. They're blocking down the backstretch.
That wasn't just a block. That was an elbow right there is what that was. That was that was more than a friendly nudge. So I love it. It gives us something to talk about.
Oh, that's definitely for sure. I mean, that was a block right there for sure. And sure JC not very appreciative of it, but luckily it didn't result in an accident. A lot of times blocks like that very easily could result in an accident as Cody Colley gets really loose off of turn 2. As the 54 still battling right now with Kenny Powell. Also, Patrick Gitter has gotten by Derek Heitman for that 2nd place position.
Got a little bit of racing going on everywhere around this racetrack right now. Cutoff line looks like it's going to be right at 10th place with Brian Johnson. He's going to definitely want to turn around this stage right here and try to get back up well into the top 10 as he is currently trying to eke his way around Kenny Powell. Looks like he's got the 54. Randy Mullins is going to be right there in front of him in greatness.
What a race. There it is. And it looks like we're also possibly going to have a race for the lead maybe momentarily as well. Patrick Gitter is kind of all over the back of Shane Parrish. if that starts to develop, I think we'll switch to that race. But, of course, this is where kind of all the action is at the moment, as we're now less than 10 laps to go in Stage 2.
Well, this is the biggest opportunity for conflict, and we are definitely in the business of conflict.
Yeah, for sure. And this is definitely the biggest opportunity as well for stage points. These drivers all need these points in order to kind of move on to the next round. Of course, keep in mind as well, Kenny Powell and Greg Wyszynski both did not get the points they needed last race, considering they took each other out.
Yeah, and the 64 is in the 77. Are they both still in it?
Battling for the lead right now. Patrick Gitter is going to take the lead from Shane Parrish here. And here comes Chris Johnson. Now, what was your question? I do apologize.
Are both the 77 and the 54 still in it for the championship?
That is a good question. I'd have to check into that. I mean, I'll have to look at the information here, possibly under commercial break, and we'll figure that out.
No worries. But, this is about the same time where that pass occurred last time, where Shane kind of let it roll, let the big dog eat a little bit, and then he kind of reeled him back in. So we'll see if he actually still has the ability to do that, or if we're actually going to get ourselves a new stage winner. And Patrick Gitter now back up front for the first time, actually, this stage.
Yeah, and I think Patrick, learned his lesson there in stage. Oh, kind of a block there. Shane Parrish blocking to 99, and he goes sideways.
No caution.
Yeah, the 66 able to save it.
He's going to have to limp it back around, and that's definitely going to cost him a whole lot of favorite spots. It's a good thing he wasn't paying attention to points.
Let's take a look back at this here. I think that was a block that kind of went wrong here. You see the 99 got a big run to the inside of the 66 here. And the 66 tried to block him. That's exactly what happened here. The 99 had I think he had his hood underneath him. I think he had the bumper underneath him already. I just looking at that, you can see that possibly the 66 as well got some damage out of that.
He did. And, and here's the thing. Somebody's looking at points. And that right there, that's just a bad day for the whole crowd, because the whole crew, you know what I mean, even down to the truck driver, everybody just went from having a steak for dinner to just an old dirty hot dog.
Definitely. And unfortunately for Shane Parrish, I mean, he goes from winning a stage to now outside of the top 10. I mean, he has fallen all the way, I do believe, to 20th position.
And that does matter, because this would have been one of those last opportunities to gain points, in this championship, so, and that is what we race for. The green flag racing continues. Looks like we got about 4 laps to go before this stage is in the books and somebody could call it something else.
And here comes Brandon Passalacqua. Passalacqua trying to challenge Heidman. Go ahead, Big Al. I'm sorry. I was just talking about the road.
Patrick Gitter definitely has it. He's got it figured out now, and I think he's getting. Whoa! There's more contact between Jeffrey Souza. Souza just gave, I do believe, the 8 card, the horns.
Well, that's unfortunate, of course, that being Frank Flores. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything on the log here saying anything about a contact between the 8. But I'm sure we'll have that uncovered later in the event, hopefully.
Yeah.
But here we go, coming up to the white flag for stage number 2. Patrick Gitter with 1.3 seconds on Chris Johnson. And he is going to possibly win this stage by a country mile.
Literally. Literally and figuratively, he has won this thing by a country mile. But, yeah, definitely want to see what happened there.
Yeah, not exactly sure. I know a lot of times when it goes to comes to trying to go back and find some of these accidents, if it's not in the log, it's very difficult to find them.
Oh yeah, it'll be uncovered tonight though. Is all I'm saying. Just,
Yeah, a lot of times probably after because yellow flag is out, and of course that is the completion of stage 2 caution. And Patrick Gitter, your stage 2 winner, after Shane Parrish had a unfortunate set of circumstances with him trying to block Chris Johnson and Johnson. Chris Johnson's not the one I block. I do not block him. Of course, Chris Johnson comes home in second, Derek Heitman in third, Brandon Posolacqua fourth, David Centeni in fifth place. Really good run for him tonight. Greg Wachinski sixth, definitely getting some much-needed points. Seventh place, Randy Mullins. Eighth place, Brian Johnson, been recovering here. Ninth place, Kenny Powell. And J.C. Evans going to get some stage points. Of course, not going to help him out very much when it comes to the Super Cup, but it's definitely going to help him out in the Cup Series points. But with that, we'll take another step away. We'll pay some more attention to our sponsors. We'll come back, and we'll talk to whoever Big Al wants to talk to.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms, from camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I feel talking, bro. We get a hug, man. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Thursday Super Cup Series. Of course, Patrick Gitter just able to win the race off pit road and won stage number 2. Of course, I do believe we're going to be chatting with possibly Patrick here in just a moment. Or Big Al, is that who you wanted to talk to, or who you want to talk to?
Got him up in the booth there. Patrick Gitter, Big Al up in the booth. You got me?
Got a copy.
Congratulations to you there, sir, for being our stage 2 winner. Thought you were going to actually have it for stage 1 as well. Didn't quite work out, man. Looks like Shane Parrish gave you a run for your money. Tell us what's going on down there tonight, man. How's that hot rod handling?
Feels good, man. Shout out to Shane for winning that first stage, man. He and I were kind of duking it out at the end. He's been fast all week, so not surprised to see him up here at the front. But we've got a fast car, man. It's a lot of it's awareness this week. Know who you're racing around. You know, figuring out what pace you need to run. Depending on how the race looks like, how many cautions we have, etc. So I just think there's a lot of variables at play here tonight.
Yeah, big field. So have you know? And you've kind of been from the front to kind of mid pack. Does it seem like everybody's kind of playing well together, being pretty patient, or does it seem like a lot of new guys and people being kind of racy?
I mean, I feel like the guys up here I've been around, I'm familiar with. For the most part, it's been pretty good. It looked like Shane got spun. I saw it happen in my mirror. I'm not sure what happened there. But overall, it's been fine. I don't think people are going to be so nice once we get to about 20 to go. But we'll wait and see what that looks like a little bit later on.
Well, what's the effective track position on you guys down there? Are you finding that the car's handling better when you're out front, man, or does it really not matter, or do you want to be the one that's kind of in the back applying the pressure?
I think you can make it work wherever you're at in the field. It just depends on, you know, obviously clearing up front's great and all, but I mean, you can make the car work too. Mid-pack, you know, depending on the lines the guys around you are running, who's fast, who can pull you around other cars. So I think it just depends. I think it just goes back to it being kind of an awareness thing.
Well, I'll tell you what it's been so far. It's been 2 green flag stages. Now, hopefully, we're into this last stage, and hopefully we get to see some green flag pit stops, man. But it looks like you got to get back at it. So before we let you go, who you going to be shouting out for your second place stage win? So your second stage win, sorry.
Yeah, man. Shout out to you and Brian up there in the booth for calling the race tonight. Appreciate what you guys do. Shout out to EPI and Team Conti for getting us the hot rod this week, man. She's quick. thanks to Martin PC and C12 Design Shop. They got this new paint for me tonight. I love it. So shout out to Colby Whipple over there at C12. Appreciate him. And then Kenny Powell for putting the league on. Appreciate you guys, and we'll get back to it here.
Hey, man, digging that paint scheme, too. Good luck to you. Hopefully we'll be able to holler back at you at the end of this thing.
10-4. Thanks, guys.
Alrighty, that was Patrick Gitter, driver of the 21 machine. Definitely a fantastic performance thus far. Just a heartbreaker for his teammate, the 66, there for sure. But pace car lights are out. The race must go on, as this is when it really begins, as we have just under 100 laps to go here. Of course, fuel window 62 laps, so keep in mind that we cannot make it on gas here. These guys are going to have to stop if we go green from here, and so far we have not had a caution based on an incident. Does that change in stage 3? We're getting ready to find out here.
Well, hopefully Shane Parrish can turn his into a Cinderella story, Brian, because, you know, he did actually have time to go back down pit road, get what little incidental damage that he had done fixed. He got a fresh set of good gears. He could be back in this thing because he does have a hot rod.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Very, very true here as we enter the Geico restart zone. Green flag out in the air as we start stage number 3. Patrick Gitter just taking off on this stage start. As well as you see the 99 of Chris Johnson trying to challenge Derek Heitman. Heitman almost got caught sleeping. I think Gitter really just caught him off guard.
Here's what I think happened. I think that Gitter knew that Heitman was listening to the broadcast, because if track position doesn't matter, he's dang sure not showing it, dang, because he's got that thing pointed to the front and the stars. He ain't trying to be caught in traffic.
No, I think you're right for sure. But what an interesting race thus far. We have several teams being represented up in the top 10 right now. Of course, we got the EPI driver Patrick Gitter up in the lead. We got Derek Heitman, of course. I do believe he drives for Prodigy, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, glad to see them represented in our series as well. Chris Johnson and Brandon Posolaco, of course, representing Paradigm. We got G&G represented with Greg Wachinski and Kenny Powell. Not sure what team David Centini drives on. I do believe he's an independent. Of course, just a lot of different teams being represented out here right now. As, of course, we have a battle for the lead. Heitman trying to take it from Patrick Gitter. And he does it. Patrick Gitter cedes the lead to Derek Heitman. Now, I do not blame Gitter for this. I think this is big brain moves here for the 21, because he knows he's good on the long run.
Yeah, you absolutely. At this point, you're just controlling your own fate. You let that guy go, and you kind of use him as your gauge, so to speak, instead of you being everyone else's.
Yeah,
because no one's really paying attention to the second place car. I think Gitter, at this point, he's just going to kind of get and be where he's comfortable. He says you're good to go no matter where you're at in the pack. So I think he's going to get to where he's comfortable and just run his own race. But Kenny Powell hasn't found that spot yet. As we're halfway through, he is trying to nudge by his G&G teammate. That's going to be Greg Wachinski, and that's going to put Powell up into the top 5 for the first time today.
Yeah, and Powell almost got challenged there by Brian Johnson, but he kind of threw a little bit of a block, and Johnson kind of was not able to get the... Oh, and there goes the 5. Oh!
And I don't think this is going to be done. Wachinski throwing a sizable block on the 4. Look, there's been contact along the race course, and here comes the 9, and he's poking his nose in there. I mean, letting them know that, hey, look, I don't appreciate what you just did with my teammate. So I don't think these guys are just all out ready to throw down, but there are definitely elbows and teeth out there showing tonight, Brian.
No, I definitely think so. I think that a lot of these drivers are showing that they mean business. The drama is starting to kind of definitely grow here. Side by side, the 79 and the 54 duking it out right now. And that's what pretty much has been happening all race long. Guys just duking it out, trying to get as much track position as they can. And a lot of times, when you're sitting in one spot, you're not happy. You want to get that spot that other guy has. And, big hit on the wall there for Wachinski.
The wall. Not good as he is running up with the 37 of Kevin Zosiak.
Yeah, Zosiak not ran that well.
He's trying to get into the top 10 for the first time tonight.
He definitely is. I mean, I think as the run has gone on, he's gotten that car running a little bit better. It's a big move for Miller Bonds on Jeffrey Souza. And, of course, that is, I do believe, for that 15th place position. But Derek Heitman right now out front. Got about a half a second gap back to Patrick Gitter. Of course, Chris Johnson sits third. Kenny Powell has moved his way up to the 4th place position. Pasalakwa sits 5th. Brian Johnson, very big recovery drive from him tonight. He's up to 6th.
And right there on the inside of him, he has got the down to J.C. Evans. Evans is now going to be trying to do what he can to get around. Now he has Paradigm teammate Brandon Pasalakwa in his side hairs as he is going to continue his quest to get up into the top 5 as well.
This has been such an exciting race here tonight at Texas Motor Speedway. Can't wait to see what next week looks like. We're going to, you guessed it, Big Bad Talladega.
Hell, the place so bad they wrote a song about it, baby.
That's right. And if these guys ruffle each other's feathers here tonight, imagine what's going to happen at that track.
Yeah, man, I love Talladega.
Of course, J.C. Evans has moved his way up into the top 5. Just got by Brandon Pasalakwa. Now he's going to try to run down his G&G teammate, Kenny Powell. Of course, Derek Heitman's still in the lead, but not for long, though. I think Gitter is starting to catch him here.
Well, these guys are definitely trying to make a statement now, and they're determining that they want to be in different positions on the racetrack. And I think for Kenny Powell, that's somewhere north of 2nd. So now with that, Brian, you know, there ain't no.
The 99 getting really loose.
And the Kenny Powell's going to come right there on the inside of him. And just like that, Powell's going to be nuzzling up to get her real quick.
Powell, of course, this is the highest running position he's had all night, up to 3rd place now. As he qualified at 15th.
16th. Started this thing all the way back in 16th position.
Wow.
Because, you know, Derek Heitman, 14th, is your leader now. And you got Patrick Gitter. I think Gitter's right where he wants to be. Like I said, Gitter was just going to get somewhere that was going to be comfortable for him, and that way he was going to just stay and control that flow. Because I think that's what's happening right now. I think these guys understand right now, you're just driving this thing into the sunset. You're just trying to keep the wheels on this thing. The sun's going down. Ain't nothing we can do about it. That big Texas sky. And you're just hoping that you can get down there, get your 4 freshies and some gas, and take it home on down there in the winter circle. Woohoo! Right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's exactly. I don't know if it's as simple as that, but that's what they hope that's going to be.
That's how the song. That's what the song says.
Oh, look at this! I'm watching to the cockpit here. J.C. Evans is shifting. This is something I did not think would happen here. You know, in the A Opens, a lot of drivers could, you know, have been trying to do this as well. It's kind of an optional thing. I think it burns the tires up, though. And here comes Evans. He is making some big moves. And the shifting must be working out for him as he rides right alongside Chris Johnson. I'm glad I looked into this cockpit because you could definitely tell, yeah, he's dropping it down to 4th gear to get a burst of speed out of 2. I like this.
Yeah, and here comes Brandon Pasalakwa as well as the 4 of Brian Johnson. So what you got there is you got the Paradigm guys that are all together. And I think, if anything, you're probably going to see more of a show of force there because, I mean, for whatever reason, I'm seeing that you're dramatic. I'm not saying that these guys are dramatic. I think that we just got a lot of really good racing going on here tonight.
No, it definitely has been very, very entertaining, and I've been having a ball here. As Kenny Powell, of course, still trying to challenge Patrick Gitter here for this 2nd place position as Derek Heitman continues to try to drive away. Here comes Pasalakwa, though, trying to make something happen as the 99 kind of holding up J.C. Evans. Of course, 99 trying to set his own pace. I don't think he's really trying to hold anybody up. I think he's just really trying to set his own pace. And, you know, as there it goes, Kenny Powell up to 2nd place. I think Patrick Gitter just realizes he's also trying to set his own pace. Oh, never mind. He goes to the inside crossover. I thought he was giving the spot to Powell, but it looks like no.
Well, he just doesn't want to be impeded. So, I mean, it's what it is. He's saying, look, here's the deal, man. I'm here. I'm just not. And you know, you get that at Texas. Texas is one of those tracks where it's not that it's an aggressive move, man. It's just that I don't want to slow down. I just want to keep my momentum going, especially once you got a little length on your tires.
No, I think you're right. And this is very much a track that's very easy to cross somebody over once they've gotten the pass on you. It's not completely over once you you can get past somebody, but they're going to pretty much have the advantage on you right in the next corner. Because in order to pass here, you kind of have to slide job him in a way. But Patrick Gitter has, as soon as he got by Kenny Powell, he has a sudden burst of speed, and he is running down Derek Heitman.
I think that's
touch
just
on the wall there from Brian Johnson.
I think that's just him letting them know that, hey, look, yeah, I'm still a bull too. But if we could look at the 37 and the 79, because this is kind of you kind of got two guys right here kind of fresh at it, but the 79 is really, he's been doing his thing, plus the 37 as well. That's Kevin Zosiak. So these two guys, they're on the march, and they got both the Mullins father and son there right in front of them. Just wanted to kind of just showcase a couple of the new guys.
No, for sure. Definitely been looking really good. They've been running in the top 10 quite a bit, especially with the 79. He's in that 9th place position, trying to battle with the he's pretty much in a Mullins sandwich right now. He's got Randy Mullins in 8th, Darren Mullins in 9th. The battle for the lead definitely has now, I think, changed hands here as Patrick Gitter has taken it. Oh, yellow flag is out on the racetrack here. And that is going to change quite a bit.
Everything. Still trying to get it to 77. Ryan Strunk going to be having to dial him up, see what went wrong.
Yeah, you can see right here he is stopped, and he is going to have to take a tow. Major damage. Taking a look back at this to see exactly what happened here. Looks like possibly the 20 and the 2 maybe have had an issue here. The 2, of course, I do believe is Greg Newsom. And this, I think, caught up the 77. You see the 77 right there behind the 20 and the 2. I'm not sure exactly how this all took place, but you could see, we saw the end result, which was the 77 destroyed, sitting right on the entrance to pit road. I think we're going to be coming up on it right quick. Could it have possibly been an incident between Randy Belt and the 77? We're definitely getting ready to find out.
The only other car that's actually showing anything is Al Kaslowski. I'm certain he probably blew his motor from sitting idle on pit road.
Okay, so yeah, I thought maybe I had skipped back to a fender bender previously, but looks very loose off the corner. It's a 77 out of 2. And he, of course, hits the wall all along the back stretch here. And it is not over yet, as he pretty much does the, he Ross Chastains it essentially, but it doesn't help him. And there it is right there. Look at Derek Jacobs has to avoid that. He locks the tires up and spins himself out as well.
Yeah, here's the thing. I'm going to be dramatic now because Ryan Strunk has manually disconnected, but how much of that last part, I wonder, was like intentional? I think we're going to have to look inside the car at the end of this thing because I don't know, man. I think for whatever reason, if he does lose it, he does. But I think at the end there, I think that was, he overcorrected. Now he's hooked the wall. Maybe something's broke on the car. But this is the part I'm wondering. Like, once he comes out of there.
Yeah. Keep in mind, you asked the question earlier if the 77 was still in the playoffs, and he is. He definitely is in the playoffs. And right there, him trying to come to pit road, I guess the banking change could have unsettled the car. Let's take a look at the cockpit. See, he had already hit the wall. And now he could have also had major damage to the toe here. He did hit it quite hard, so not sure. He was turning down.
Yeah, it looks like that car damage.
Yeah,
got it. It's unfortunate for him, man. I'm certain that he broke the dang toe link in that thing and probably some other, suspension parts. just unfortunate for that team and his run tonight. I mean, hate to say that, Ryan. That's the reason why we look at replays. I just, sorry about your luck, bud.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate. And, it was good to go back and look at it and see exactly what happened there. Of course, that's why we analyze everything to let the audience make up their minds, And unfortunately, just a bad deal there. He got loose out of turn 2, overcorrected it up into the outside wall, very much hurt the race car from there, and pretty much just kept hitting the wall all down the backstretch into the 3 and 4. And, of course, tried to come down pit road and, unfortunately, spun it out. Derek Jacobs having to make some maneuvers as well. I don't think Jacobs really hit very hard, but I think so he should be okay. And Randy Belk, I don't think, got too much out of that.
And, for it having been a single-car incident, that, it is going to affect the outcome of the race because now, with 64 laps to go, it's right at the cusp of that gas window. Guys are going to be able to clutch it and save and make it. So
just went down pit road.
This had huge implications on the end of this race.
Yeah, and Heitman just went down pit road. I think he's going to try to see if he can't make it. He just popped down. He pitted from 3rd, I do believe, to try to see if he could possibly grab a little bit of gas in that tank. Also, I do want to go back to Ryan Strunk. You had asked earlier if he was in the playoff picture. He is the last driver on the cut line, or he is last right now in the playoffs. He needs points desperately needs points right now, and that
then I don't know why he disconnected then.
Yeah, I mean maybe the damage was too great. He's now 5 laps down though, so this is not going to be a good points day for the 77, and I don't want to have to put my chances on a race at Talladega.
Why not?
I mean, I guess. I mean, you might as well roll the dice. And
somebody's got to win.
I mean, he could have tried to. If he had got good points here, it would have been a lot easier.
Well, that's why we're sitting up here instead of down there on the box with his number in front of us. You know what I mean? So those guys know what they're doing. All we can do is analyze it. So you say, well, I analyze it. You're dramatic.
Yes, sir.
I'm just kidding.
Pace car getting ready to take a left turn down pit road as Patrick Gitter going to lead the field to green. Everybody pretty much on fresh tires. And could we possibly make it to the end on fuel? I think a lot of drivers not going to be able to. Some may. I think fuel saving is going to be on the mind as the green flag is back out in the air. Patrick Gitter takes off. Kenny Powell now under fire from Brian Johnson as Johnson takes over the 3rd place position. Powell stuck on the top side, maybe even lose a spot from Pasalacqua.
Now, if you're drafting here and you're playing your cards right, Brian, I think, I don't know, man. I think some guys might try to make it.
I think it's not a bad idea. That's why I feel like Heitman was like, hey, I'm going to pop down pit road, get a little bit of gas, and try to make it here. But I don't know, though. Oh, we're getting really close. I don't know. We might have another caution here, Big Al. I mean, these guys are racing each other like it's the last lap right now. They're throwing blocks. This race has been a lot of blocking, and it's probably the most blocking we've seen all season, to be honest.
And why do you think that is?
Playoffs? I don't know. I mean, we got new teams. But I'll tell you what, this has definitely been exciting, and it's been a good product for us up here in the booth. As we see J.C. Evans driving it up the inside of Brandon Pasalacqua, trying to take over the 5th place position. Not quite able to get it done as Pasalacqua gets a big run out of turn 2. Look at Pasalacqua go. Wow. He is flying around the middle groove there. I think he's burning his equipment up a little bit, though. I've seen guys in the A Open able to do this, but it does not last long. 3 wide almost here. As you can see, here comes the 99. He's going to try to take the lead.
See, because at this point, you're really just kind of running this as a stage, man. And I think you're running it to the end. I don't think you're going to get that caution at the end.
I don't know, man. Anything can happen in the ISCA. And you always say you got to run all the laps. And I think that's what we got to do here tonight, because if we could go green, completely green to the end, we could have a caution. Anything could happen in the ISCA, and that's why we're here to call it. Because I mean, I'm a bigger fan than probably a lot of the audience out there. I just can't wait to see what happens.
Well, I'm here every Thursday.
That's right, brother. Kenny Powell, though, trying to take over second place side by side with the 99. Here comes the 54 of Randy Mullins, showing he's got some speed here tonight.
And I'm telling you, this is that tricky time in the race because, do you want to show your speed? But if you don't, you're not going to be able to get in a position to kind of, I think you gotta kind of fight for your position now because you don't want to get tucked away.
No, I think that's exactly what happens. Oh, the 54 almost into the wall. Out of turn 4. I think he just narrowly avoided the wall as he still battles with the second place position of Kenny Powell. And big run on the high side from the 54. He's going to get all the way possibly to the lead.
Randy Mullins. Now, we do know one thing about Randy. Randy's great on the short run. We saw that last week. Him and Father Darren, they showed great bursts of speed. I think Randy ended up finishing third. Could have had a good run at first or second. But here's the question. Is it too soon right now?
I think it is. I mean, especially if guys are capable of making it to the end on fuel, all of this is going to be for no reason. I mean, you driving it really hard right now, and you have to pit. It's not going to matter. I mean, it's gonna come down to who saves the best, and this is not the winning strategy if it goes green to the end.
Yeah, and the winning strategy would be a fix to that in the 76 of Derek Heitman.
Yeah, that would be the strategy. Yeah.
He came down and stuffed his pockets, and I'm afraid that stuffing of his pockets would be just enough if this thing were to stay green, that it would definitely have an impact on the outcome. Now, I think these guys do have enough fuel to make it, but it's going to be about how you drive the car.
Yeah, and they're not saving. If they probably were saving, they would probably have enough fuel to make it. But this is not saving. These guys are battling. They're turning really fast laps. Oh, Chris Johnson almost turns the 24 of Powell as Kenny Powell possibly is going to lose the lead. These guys are just battling 3 wide side by side. You can see Patrick Gitter's like, I'm having no part of this, and he backs off.
Even Brother Brian came through the fescue there, not sure what was going on, but like you said, there's lots of racing going on here.
This is getting just crazy right now, and I love it. I love it. What a recovery as well from Miller Bonds, up to 7th place right now.
Yeah, he's up there banging with Brother Brian. And there he is on side of 79. The 79's going to be threading the needle. Everybody's going to be going around him on the outside, watching the 37 as he's continuing to make his run, now officially in the top 10. Kevin Zozak up to 8th place as you saw that contact unfold live.
Wow. Here. That was definitely a crazy one. I think that deserves a second look.
Yeah, Chris Johnson, now your leader.
Take another look back at this accident here. This cost almost 4 wide. Right there, the 79 came down on the 12, went sideways in front of the pack, and saved it. Good save, and good driving for everybody around him. They could have easily killed him.
Well, maybe he should have let it slide a little bit more because that didn't do himself any favors, especially if he wants to win this thing. Because now, man, his good year is just too scuffed up, and he's going to have to make it a long way. 50 laps to go in this thing before it's over. The 99, Chris Johnson in the lead. Randy Mullins kind of got it stuck in second place, having a good night. We knew that those Mullins guys had a hot rod. Now he's actually in the lead as he is going to not only contest but actually pass Chris Johnson.
Yeah, Chris Johnson definitely getting passed there by Randy Mullins. I'm noticing as well a big gap forming between, of course, the top 5 and I do believe the 6th place position of Kevin Zosiak.
Yeah, that's the haves and the have-nots. Those guys that are ahead of them, they have nots, no sense. And the guys back there, they do, because these guys, they're letting it all hang. And I'm going to tell you what, Kenny Powell ain't done just yet. I guarantee you he's going to try to put that 24 Camry right up there in the lead again. But Randy Mullins, your current leader right now, is the top 4. Definitely starting to have somewhat of a pull away, Brian.
Seeing a Very much so. And I think a lot of these drivers that are back in this pack further back, of course, they were affected by the sideways race car of the 79 of Centenny, I should say. But I think a lot of these drivers back here further are saving gas more than anything. I don't think they're really trying to fight quite as hard as the rest of those drivers that are up in the top 5. But I am seeing that the 64 of Darren Mullins running more of a high line here. This is going to definitely tear his tires all up here as we're coming up, of course, closer and closer to the end of this race. Less than now 50 laps to go in the event.
Yeah, you're going to feel the tires. I mean, you know that. You're going to feel them, so you know not to kill them, because if you do kill your tires, you might make it on fuel, but you're not going to make it on the good years. And that's something that drivers are definitely going to have to pay attention to. So, Brandon.
And here comes Brian Johnson to the inside of Miller Bonds. Brian, of course, going to take over that 9th or 8th place position. Also, Derek Heitman, who is has more fuel in the tank than the rest of these drivers, is trying to make his way back up into the top 10, and he has successfully done so as he's up to now 9th place. Just got Miller Bonds. Also, Brandon Pasalacqua making his way forward. A lot of drivers starting to move forward. That's the top 5. Of course, still has a little bit of a breakaway. But it looks like the accordion effect is starting to possibly happen as well as these guys kind of all collapse in back on one another.
Yeah, Heitman all the way up to 9th place now. And like you said, that's the guy that we're watching, because we know that he actually, he came in, he got the gas that he needed to actually be able to take him to the end of this thing. But, I mean, further down the track, though, still green flag racing is continuing, which is a big thing. It's the 64 of Darren Mullins is right there with Brian Johnson. Derek Heitman entering back into the fray with these guys as Heitman back up to 9th place.
Yeah, Heitman has definitely been very, very fast here in that 76 here tonight. Kevin Zosiak, though, got to give him a ton of credit right now as he is sitting in that 6th place position. Haven't seen him really a lot in this race, but he has been gradually moving his way forward. He gets loose out of turn 2. This is going to possibly provoke a 3-wide race for this position.
He has been giving it everything that he has in order to get to where he is right now. So, I mean, he is definitely showing us 110% of everything that's not only in the tank but in the seat as well.
No, 100%. I think that he's definitely been driving a little bit hard to kind of keep up with these guys. And some of the best and the best of the best out here in the ISCA are, they're definitely putting on a show. And when you go against guys that are this fast, that are this talented, you have to drive hard. And, sometimes you kind of drive a little too hard. As I saw a little bit in the background is the aid of Frank Flores, who just got into the wall.
What's pressure do? Burst pipes and builds diamonds, right?
That's 100%. That's something you've kind of gotten famous for saying, and it's 100% true. That is 100% facts.
And that's 100% you. But yeah, there he is in a 3-wide situation, having Darren Mullins in the middle. Brandon Pasalacqua also in the middle. I don't know how many people can appreciate being placed in a 3-wide situation. What are your thoughts of being placed in a 3-wide situation?
Well, I mean, it's a scary situation, I'll tell you that. And, I'm not one that really enjoys being in 3-wide scenario. But I know these drivers are so capable that they can handle that. Like, if you were in an official series right now, and these guys, and we had some other drivers that were a little bit more unknown, 3-wide would be something that I would be very, very terrified of. But in this ISCA, these guys are capable of driving 3-wide without wrecking it.
But my question to you is, though, when it happens, you still got to feel some kind of way, because unless you're at Talladega, the bottom line is you just went 3-wide. It's a significant emotional event. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a scary thing. It gets your heart rate up. And, it can be like, you might even come over the radio, why'd you just put me 3-wide? And as we see a new leader up in the lead now, Randy Mullins, now up front with now, I do believe, 39 laps to go.
Yeah, and I'm going to keep beating that dead horse, because it's just like, did you intentionally take me 3-wide? You plan to do that? You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just curious.
I don't think anybody plans to take them through. I think they just want to get positions. And most of the time when you take someone 3-wide, you think you're going to be able to make that pass very quickly. And a lot of times it doesn't go as quickly as you think it's going to happen. you're not trying to break off the momentum. We've talked about that before, even tonight, that you don't want to let off. So it's a choice that you have, Big Al. Take it 3 wide or let off.
And so I think all we're doing is we're not belaboring the point. We're just trying to paint a picture for the folks at home to understand that 3 wide is a pretty big, significant deal. So when you see that, that direct moment of those 3 drivers is really it's probably the tensest they're ever going to be at any point else in the race.
No, 100%. It's very tense, and also depending on what kind of equipment you're running as well. If you have triples or VR, it's not as big of a deal. But a lot of these drivers are on a single monitor. I mean, not everybody has triples or VR, to be able to have that, ability to kind of look around and see what's going on beside them. When you're 3 wide on a single monitor, that's a scary thing because you don't know exactly where that other car is.
Oh, the relative matters so much.
I mean, that car could be inches away or he could be feet away, and a lot of times that's a big difference. I mean, if you're a foot away from another driver, you can kind of move up a little bit and get closer to him to kind of get more momentum or side draft him. But if you're on a single monitor, you don't know how far away he is.
Yeah, so just trying to give you guys because we see that happen and it happens all the time, but it is a significant emotional event for the drivers when it does happen. No matter if you're the middle car, the lower car, or the high side.
Oh, almost some contact there as we see J.C. Evans gets into the rear of the 54 of Randy Mullins, but Chris Johnson now up in front, and he has been one of the faster cars here tonight.
And JC, I mean, that car's been mighty wide most of the evening, too. He's been no stranger to contact or conflict. Kenny Powell now coming by the inside. He is going to be trying to make his run on the 54 of Randy Mullins. Powell losing it just a little bit. Here comes Brian Johnson on the inside. See if he can't make it work.
Yeah, even with the tires starting to be significantly worn, this is quite a distance these guys have gone on these tires now. They're still making these crazy bonsai moves, and just shows you, how awesome this race car is. I mean, it just provokes such good racing, especially at these 1.5-mile tracks, as we're coming closer to 30 to go.
So to give it perspective, it's almost like, for the tire's sake, we're just ending stage 1, but we still got a stage 1 to go. That's exactly what I can say about the tire wear on this.
That's exactly right, pretty much. And we're 32 laps into this stint. Of course, stage 1 was 35.
And those last 3 laps, well, they're just going to be the longest of anybody's life as Kenny Powell is trying to do everything he can to keep that 24 pointed in the right direction.
He's also trying to keep the 4 and the 76 behind him. So a lot of pressure on the 24 right now. Of course, he needs a good points day, considering him and Greg Wyszynski got tangled up last week at Bristol.
And the Ford, giving it everything he has. Now he's going to be on the inside trying to make a move past Kenny Powell. Got Derek Heitman in tow. Now right behind Heitman is Brandon Pasalacqua. Now at some point, these guys should know now, Brian, if they're going to be good to know, if they're going to be good to go on fuel.
Yeah, they definitely should know. You're right. I think that they've been probably looking at their fuel calculators, and if they can't make it, they know now. And I think a lot of these drivers are probably making plans. Hey, do I come down pit road? Because if you're going to come down pit road, if you know you can't make it, you're going to try to split this run in half. And I think this is about that splitting point right now. So a lot of drivers could start to think about coming very, very soon, or I know this is kind of a popular strategy with you, is kind of just run it out. See what happens, because you never know when a caution flag could come out. I mean, especially as the tires start to wear, we're in no man's land when it comes to how the tires are going to react on a 60-lap run.
Yeah, because the tires are going to do what they're going to do. I mean, that's just it, driver. Suck it up. You got the tires to Greg Newsom. He's making his way down pit road. Think he's already done the math, and they decided that they're not going to be able to make it. Now, the data that the other teams are going to get, they're going to be able to tell just how long it's going to take Newsom to get down, to get topped off, get 4 tires, get back out there. And also, they're going to be able to gauge if those 4 tires are going to make a big difference. Greg
Well, I think
Wychinski.
they'll make a big difference considering lap times right now 30.6 from Chris Johnson. His fastest lap was about a mid 29-second lap. So that's a second of fall off. That's a big difference around a track like Texas. So I definitely would expect that we're going to see, these guys. Really, if it does go green and you can't make it on gas and you pit, split it in half, you're going to be making up a lot of time when it comes to with those tires. You see a big battle right now going on between Greg Carr and I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's the Zaziak as well. You see in front of them, Alexander Carr battling with Jeffrey Souza. That's right on the edge of the top 10.
Greg Newsom's got a black flag. Not sure what that's about.
Oh,
Pretty
man.
sure he's going to be holding for that. I was wondering what was taking him down so long on pit road. Now he finds himself at least 2 laps down. Depending on how much longer he's got to hold, Brian, his fate has not yet been sealed.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, do it just 27 laps to go. Be 26 at the line. No other takers on pit road thus far. I can see why.
Yeah, no, I think the popular strategy is just going to be able to run it out. I think that's going to be the kind of the strategy, and that's unfortunate that he got that black flag because I would have been very curious to see how that how those new tires would have benefited him. I think he would have came to the field quite quickly. But man, hats off to J.C. Evans, man. I don't know what they've been feeding that guy. He's been eating his Wheaties. He's up third. You got to love it. I mean, to see, kind of a driver finding his own. I mean, he's one of the drivers we've been looking at, and he's been, growing and getting better as this season has progressed. And, it seems like it's all paying off right now. But the only bad thing is he's not in the playoffs. Imagine if he had been in the playoffs and he was having a run this good right now. But this just shows that next season or even the Cup Series season, he could be a championship hopeful. As he gets a little bit loose off of turn 4, though, this is going to possibly set him up maybe to get passed by the 4 of that is, of course, Brian Johnson.
Yeah, Brian definitely has he has a fast car, Brian, and he's just been trying to, to get back up front. I think he's had some woes there, if you will, but definitely got a fast car, man. We're just waiting to see how it works out for him.
And, of course, Patrick Gitter now starting to catch up to Chris Johnson. Of course, Gitter has been the master at saving tires.
Sorry, not Greg, but Alexander Carr, I believe, off into the dirty grass, into the fescue.
Oh, no. That's definitely not a good thing to have happen to you. Unfortunate. I'll tell you one driver that has been catching it ever since he had that issue earlier in the race is Shane Parrish. Has not been able to get that track position back. He is mired back into traffic in 17th. Of course, went from winning the stage to back in 17th. Goodness.
Yeah, Derek Heitman made it all the way up to 5th place now with 22 laps to go in this thing. I think, like you said, a lot of drivers' fate's already sealed. The decision's made. They're just going to ride it out. I think he's probably riding a little bit more comfortable than everybody, but I do believe for the most part that I don't think fuel's going to be an issue. I think it's just going to come down to how well this thing handles for you.
I don't know. I think fuel's going to be an issue. Maybe not for Heitman, but I mean it still could even be an issue for him. I mean, it's close. I mean the fuel window 62 laps. And looking at the amount of time these guys have been out here right now, 44 for the majority of these drivers, and we just came on 20 laps to go. That means if the fuel window is 62 laps, we're going to have, I think, 2 or 3 extra, or lacking 2 or 3 laps of gas here. And I don't know about you, but I have not seen a lot of drivers out here actually saving fuel. Now, some of these drivers, Kenny Powell, who was running up in the top 5, he's kind of fallen back quite substantially, back to about almost 4 seconds back from the leader. I'm curious if maybe he's saving. That could be a possibility. 2 or 3 laps is doable when it comes to saving, but I just haven't seen a whole lot of evidence of guys saving.
Yeah, but I think if you were going to save, though, Brian, you would have had to made those decisions long ago. So the guys that were actually saving, they already knew what that plan was. So, you got to save before you can go out there and act like an idiot, because you'll eventually get the call, well, hey, we're good to go. You can go ahead and just, do what you got to do. But until then, I mean, it's conserve, conserve, conserve. And I think that is generally going to be the philosophy, if you will, all the way back to the 33rd car of Randy Belk, who's currently in 20th place. All these drivers still have a shot at it with 19 laps to go, because, I mean, we still got a lot of racing left.
Yeah, and who's to say we don't see possibly a late race caution? I mean, a lot of these guys are probably very tired. They're getting emotionally drained as well, mentally drained. I mean, their focus is probably starting to wane. I mean, this is a long race. I mean, 167 laps is not a short one by any stretch of the imagination. The NIS races are already long. This race is about 30 extra laps tacked onto that. So, I mean, that's the NIS in a lot of ways is the marathon race of the iRacing NASCAR kind of series. And, this is even longer than that. So, this challenges a lot of these drivers. And, I'm sure they're already starting to feel a lot of the physical effects.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, just, the good thing about it is an oval race, so they're not as taxing as say, some road courses or short tracks. At least you kind of do get to kind of stretch out a little bit. It's more with the wheel, I guess, than it is with the brake and the throttle.
Here we go, pass for the lead. Patrick Gitter going to be passing right by Chris Johnson. Of course, he has been the master of saving tire. But here comes as well Derek Heitman, the driver we've been talking about, who had the interesting strategy to pit that extra time to get a little bit of extra gas in the tank. He's now up to third and chasing down Chris Johnson. If he can make it on fuel and no one else can, he wins this race.
Yeah, because see, the advantage for him is not going to be a tire advantage. It's primarily going to be a fuel advantage, Brian.
100%.
Ooh, side-by-side racing goes between Carr and Souza. Those who just making the slightest of contact.
And who's to say this doesn't go from bad to worse? We could very well see some contact that leads to a caution, especially just considering how wore these tires are right now. I mean, they're worn out. I mean, you can't, when you're side-by-side battling and you are on such old tires as these guys are, I mean, these guys are on like 50-lap-old tires. And that's difficult. You don't have the maneuverability that you had. You can see right there, right in front of them, the 20 car getting very loose out of turn 2. As this race continues to unfold, Patrick Gitter, of course, in the lead, but does he have enough fuel to win this race? I think if these guys knew that it was going to go green, I think they would already have pitted. And I think they realize that this is probably going to go green to the end. So could everybody make it? Could everybody make it? We'll have to wait and see. This is going to be curious. I don't think these guys are going to have enough fuel to do a burnout, though.
Yeah, I think they're good on gas. Ooh, the 8 car, Frank Flores, he's coming down pit road. I think that no doubtedly is going to be a splash and go. We'll be watching to see what happens, how far he takes it.
Definitely curious as he comes to stop in his box. And it looks like I think he's just going to be taking, I don't see any tires, jack stands going up or anything like that. Looks like he might even have gotten a penalty here. Because he's still sitting in pit lane. That's kind of an interesting, if he was just taking fuel only, his pit stop would have been over by now. As we're coming close to 10 laps to go. Very difficult as well to pit under green here, especially on the old tires. Patrick Gitter, ever since he got by Chris Johnson, has started just taking. He's been just taking off. He's taking off right now, over a second now on Chris Johnson.
Yeah, definitely, and showing no signs of slowing down. So he's doing what he does best. He's
doing what he always does. I mean, this guy usually does not set a tire wrong. He knows exactly what he's doing. Every track he comes to, he seems like he just has his finger right on the pulse. And the thing is, he's like a machine in a lot of ways. We've talked about other drivers, that, like Clayton Hoffman, drivers like that. I think Gitter is definitely in that sort of in that sort of bracket of drivers, right? I mean, he's one of those guys that just doesn't do anything wrong most of the time, and knows exactly what laps needs to hit. I mean, he's mechanical.
Yeah, so with 10 laps to go, the question that's just going to linger is, had Derek Heitman not pitted, would he have had the speed that he needed to be out front versus having to take the distance that it took to recover from him actually stopping to get the gas?
That's a good question. I don't know. That's a very good question. I mean, considering that extra stop that he took put him all the way outside of the top 20, and he fought his way back up to the second. He's right now in second. He just got by Chris Johnson. I think he would have had the speed to contend with Gitter right now, and possibly would have passed Gitter and maybe won this race. But still,
it's not going to be
it's
an
not
issue
over.
of tires.
Fuel is still a question mark.
You keep saying that. My driver's not out there at this point in the race if we're not good on gas.
You're right. I don't know though. I mean, I just feel like I'm gonna throw the book at Kenny Powell though, because he gave me the figure 62 laps.
Those are just suggestions for maximum fuel efficiency. Blah blah blah.
I'm just saying he needs to quit giving me. He needs to give me accurate information, right?
Well, I'll tell you what. No one's making their plans based on the data that Kenny gives you. We're just filling in spots on the broadcast, but these guys, they
I'm
know.
Serious though. I want to know the accurate information.
I think we're getting ready to find out here in the next 7 laps.
I think so. I'm going to throw the book at Kenny Powell. Like, you're wrong. It's not 62. As we get ready to end this race, coming up now 5 laps to go, and the sun has started to shine again once on the track. We were pretty much cloudy for quite a while there. Probably cooled the track. This could make things a little bit interesting, as we're going to find out, like you said, if these guys can make it on gas to the end. I think it's pretty much well said that they probably can, because I think, like you said, Gitter would have already pitted if he couldn't make it.
Yeah, 5 laps to go. Yeah, I mean, Gitter's he's already setting up photo ops here.
As we're now 60 laps into the stint for Patrick Gitter, now 61. Fuel window was told to me was 62. And he's coming up on some lap traffic as well. But what a good race this has been. I've definitely thoroughly enjoyed the event here today. It's been exciting from start to finish. I mean, these guys, 30 drivers showing up, and, still quite a bit of drivers on the lead lap. I do we have 24 that are at the moment still on the lead lap. We have not had, we've only had 1 caution, I do believe, that it's actually been because of an accident. But for the most part, we've been clean and green. Now, that's saying something to have 30 cars out on a track and have only 1 caution based on a wreck. And considering the racing we saw earlier, that's definitely saying something, because we saw 3 wide. We saw these guys beating and banging. As it looks like Jeffrey Ford, unfortunately, at the end here is going to go a lap down. That's unfortunate. That's going to put 23 drivers on the lead lap. Of course, now I do believe we're at 2 laps to go. Next flag will be the white one. And of course, after that one, that'll be pretty much all she said, all she rode. Of course, when the white flag comes out, the next flag always ends it.
That's right.
And of course, here comes Patrick Gitter out of turn number 4. He's going to cross the start-finish line and take the final lap, or start the final lap, I should say. And he's got a 1.7 second gap. And it looks like he is going to seal the deal here. Of course, he's already won 1 race in the playoffs. Now he's going to probably win his 2nd here as he's down on the backstretch. Comes into 3 and 4. And he's going to exit 4. Even if he ran out of gas here, he would probably coast to the start-finish line, and he is going to win here at Texas Motor Speedway. Of course, Derek Heitman, what an impressive run for him here tonight to 76. Able to take care of business. That last restart, he started back in, I do believe, 20th or so, outside of the top 20, I should say, and ran his way all the way up to 2nd place. You got to give him a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, I mean, he put a lot of Chevrolets between him and Patrick Gitter.
And, of course, Chris Johnson, awesome run for him. I mean, he was a top 5 car, top 3 car all race long. Showed significant pace. As Patrick Gitter's going to do a burnout here at No Limits, Texas.
Brandon Pasalakwa, man, awesome show for those guys.
100%. Awesome show for J.C. Evans in 5th. Look at that. Awesome run for the 9, and he is making his... He's definitely making it seem like he's found himself a good home in the G&G group.
Yeah, definitely. Man, it was a great race. Just seeing overall, just wow. Way to go, guys.
No, I enjoyed it thoroughly. It was an awesome race. But let's take a look at the final results here. Patrick Gitter, of course, your winner. Derek Heitman comes home 2nd place. 3rd place, Chris Johnson. 4th, Brandon Pasalakwa. 5th, J.C. Evans. 6th place, Brian Johnson. 7th, Darren Mullins. 8th, Shane Parrish. 9th, Cody Colley. 10th, Randy Mullen. Of course, 11th place, David Centini. 12th place, Greg Carr. 13th, Billy Fitzgerald. 14th, Barry Stevens. And 15th, Alexander Carr.
That's right. 16th place is going to be Randy Belt with Greg Wachinski. And 17th, Kenny Powell. 18th, Jeffrey Souza. 19th, 20th, going to be Miller Bonds. 21st position is going to be Mark Sanchez. Blair Holloman in 22nd. John Binder, 23rd. Jeffrey Ford, 24th. Derek Jacobs, 25th. Kevin Zosiak in 26th. 27th place shows Frank Flores. 28th place, Greg Newsom. Ryan Strunk, 29th. And Paul Osen rounds out this 30-car field. With that said, in that race in the books, we're going to take a step away, get a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back with our post-race show.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms. From camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I feel talking, bro. We get a hug, man. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
Experience traditional Brazilian cuisine, served with the hospitality that Texas is famous for. Here at Texas de Brazil, you simply turn your card to green, and expert carvers serve you fine cuts of beef, lamb, pork, chicken, and Brazilian sausage. Turn your card to red when you want a break. Then repeat. Make reservations now at texasdebrazil.com.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we just saw the conclusion of the ISCA Thursday Super Cup Series here at Texas Motor Speedway. And what an event it was here. Of course, we're going to be joined in the booth, I do believe, by our third place finisher, the 99 of Chris Johnson. Chris, what a fantastic performance here. Definitely a solid message there from the Paradigm group. Unfortunately, you just didn't have what it took to get up there to Patrick Gitter. You definitely led a lot of laps here tonight. Walk us through what do you think you needed to get up there to Gitter and contend?
Not race. The EPI guys definitely had the system down. You know, I just every restart I was just racing hard, and you know, it didn't seem like I had a chance to fall in line, and kind of just even still, if I saved, I mean, I saved a little bit. It was either the first or second stage, and Gitter and Shane just walked off from me. So I coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yeah, but still definitely a really good run for you. I mean, it seemed like you've been coming into your own here as of late. So anytime you get a podium, it's a really good day. I mean, but it definitely seemed like you were consistently up in the top three. What has been changing for you? You think that has kind of led to these good performances? Back to back kind of good performances. Because I know that you kind of used to suffer from a lot of bad luck, and it looks like it's been turned around a little bit.
Well, a lot of it is, of course, Brian Johnson, Brandon, Josh, all of us getting together and running laps and seeing what we could do, and learn the track a little bit better, because a lot of it's learning the track, and you just can't just pop in a setup and go. You got to learn the track, and that's what those guys helped me with.
Yeah, that's definitely important to kind of prepare. So what did you guys do kind of to prepare this week? I mean, how many laps do you think y'all turned?
Well, Brandon probably drove a couple thousand. Me and Brian got on, and we ran, and you know did a little tweaks here and there, but the straight up TWRS was probably the best way to go. That's what I ran, was the TWRS Advance, and I didn't do any changes to it. Maybe a little bit, I can't remember, but it solid setup.
For sure. Of course, next week we're heading to Talladega, where the setup doesn't quite matter quite as much there, for sure. And how do you feel about it? I know you're kind of you like those kind of tracks, right?
I like I like them a little bit. It's a hit and miss. Brian usually has bad luck there, but usually when you got all your friends in line, it's really fun. But when you're out there by yourself, nobody to hang out with, that's when it kind of gets in the pits.
100%. Well, we're looking forward to it. I know that you guys are always so good at these clean races, and what a clean race it was tonight as well. I gotta circle back a little bit. Earlier in the race, we saw kind of a little bit of an accident between you and Shane Parrish. I want to turn back to that a little bit. Was it a block? What was your view on that?
I don't really know. I got a call on the outside about couple feet from entering turn. I think it was 3, and I saw him kept coming down, and I just I either lift and blow the corner, possibly drive up into him, or kind of hold my own, and we got together. I don't know if I came up or whatnot, but I had the call. My spotter called outside, so don't really know what happened. I do
Hmm.
apologize to Shane. Very good racer. Top notch driver. I hate to get in it with him, but yeah, I had the call, so.
No, I mean, I think you. I don't necessarily think it was necessarily your fault. I think it was just good hard racing, and I think you did have the bottom. I mean, we even kind of called it that way, but of course, just wanted to ask your perspective on it. I'm sure that both of you guys didn't mean to get together. It's just good hard racing. When you're both similar speeds, it kind of just happens. Like I mean, you're bound to have some sort of contact with somebody. But I mean, I just wanted to kind of touch base with you on that. Of course, Chris, great job tonight. Third place. You've been really just showing a ton of momentum here. Can't wait to see what Talladega looks like. Who can we shout out to after this third place finish?
Of course, Southern Spiral Pipe, Brian, Brandon, Josh, everybody at Paradigm Motorsports, and y'all up in the booth. Kenny and my old team G&G, that what they put on for the league, outstanding. And yeah, you Brian, Big Al, awesome job. Appreciate it.
All right, Chris. Well, thanks for your time, and we'll see you hopefully next week at Talladega.
Thank you, sir.
All righty, that was Chris Johnson, driver of the 99 Paradigm Machine. Of course, definitely a fantastic performance from him. Next up, Big Al standing by with Derek Heitman in the 76.
Mr. Heitman, long time no talk. How you doing, sir?
Doing pretty good, guys. How we doing?
Good, good, good. Congratulations to you for bringing it home, man. P2. So we saw you duck back down pit road there to kind of get that last dash of gas. At which point here, was that the call of the race? Definitely from where I was sitting. How'd you guys see it, and how'd you come about making that call?
Oh, I made the call because I thought, we had 65 to go in the race, and when we were pacing and starting before the race started, in the practice session, I ran a complete fuel run as far as I could go on fuel, just see how far I could make it, and I ended up having to pit on 63. So I mean, I thought 63 was gonna be the number. This is the first complete fuel run that I've done this week, so I just needed to kind of figure it out. I kind of heard after the fact that maybe 65 was actually the number, which would make sense with all the extra pack racing. Maybe late in the race like this, where the lap times or something with the car, the air temp is making you use a little less fuel in the corners, but I mean, when I ran that test earlier, obviously it was before the race started. Practice session is at a very hot air temp. The track temp was atrociously hot to start out this race, so I might have to do something with the fuel mileage, but you live and learn.
Yeah, definitely, man. But you guys had a rocket ship as we watched you you started this thing all the way back in 14th place, but it took you no time there actually in the first stage to be up in the top 10, and then you were there again. I mean, watching you drive through the field, how was that? Was that a difficult, number one, was it a difficult decision to make, and how much do you think maybe that cost you just that little bit of time from being able to run down Patrick Gitter?
I don't think the decision really cost me in the long run because Patrick's really smart. Patrick was doing everything he could do to save the tires behind the people that he was running behind. As I was coming up through the field, as soon as I got 2 cars behind him, I was watching him. I got 2 cars behind him, and then it was like I would make a pass to be the next car behind him. He'd make a pass. And then I'd make a pass to be the next car behind him, and then he'd make a pass. So he knew what he was doing the whole time. He had the tires to beat me. He'd been running up front the whole time, saving them while I was coming up through the field. As far as coming through the field goes, a lot of respectful racing by a lot of these drivers in here, so kudos to that. I just did the best I could to be patient, not race anybody too hard, don't make anybody mad, and just find myself up there at the end when it counted.
But I tell you what, it was a pleasure to watch. Next week, we're headed to Talladega. It's not a race, it's Talladega. How you feeling with your friends and your family playing there for next week? Is that plan filled up there? You got some brackets there. You gonna be butt naked by yourself, or you gonna be all cuddled up and cozy once you come on out to Talladega County?
I mean, I know I got friends on the racetrack and I have people that I can count on, but at the end of the day, I'm in here chartering a team by myself. Um, so for that reason, the super speedway might be a little bit more difficult for me. I'm gonna have to play my own pit strategy. We just pay attention to what other people are doing a lot more rather than it just being told to me in my ears. But all in all, it should be a good outing, and hopefully we can strive for at least another top 5.
Roger that, man. I'm gonna hold you to it. Congratulations again for bringing her home in P2 and all of the work that you did. Looks like it paid off for you in the end. Before we let you go, boss, who you gonna shout out for your second place finish?
Shout out Prodigy Sports for bringing me on. It's been a pleasure being a part of their team. They're a great group, community, and they're able to teach a lot. And they're all about being fast, winning the races. And then shout out Ryko Performance for giving me the power under the hood to be able to make all those moves through the field and have a shot at it here at the end.
Well, I'll tell you what, once again, it was a pleasure to watch you, brother. And as I always say, don't party too hard. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, gentlemen.
All righty, that was Derek Heitman, driver of the 76 machine. Definitely a really great performance he put on here tonight. And hopefully we see a lot more of him here in the ISCA. Of course, Patrick Gitter, the man, the myth, the legend, won stage number 2 and wins the race here. I think he led 65 laps. I mean, it seemed like you were just methodical the way you handled this, Patrick. I mean, you knew what lap times you needed to hit. You were willing to let guys go as well, but they didn't stay in front of you for long. Tell us how you feeling. How was the car tonight? It seemed like it was really good.
Yeah, man, it's felt good on the long run all week. When we get short runs, we've got to kind of tinker with it to get it to work on the short run, which we've had some success with this week. But yeah, I mean, it just felt really good in the long run. It was a game of patience there. That last run that we had, that 60 lap, 65 lap run, whatever it was. I had seen Derek went in to top off on fuel. I knew he'd be coming to the front. Um, so he kind of nailed it. I mean, I was watching Derek at the end. I was watching lap times on my relative, and I had a number. Once he got within a certain amount of tenths, it was going to be go time. Once I knew I had enough fuel saved. So yeah, I mean, it was just a game of patience. I mean, I if a caution had come out when I was in fifth, letting the guys in front of me run a little bit faster pace than I wanted to, I mean, I could have gotten screwed on that call. It really just came down to trusting the long run and hoping that worked out.
Yeah, and I was kind of confused. I'm going to have to probably throw something at Kenny Powell because he gave us a number 62, and it seemed like you guys were able to go further than that. 64 is what you made it to. How bad, how much gas did you have left? I mean, it seemed like you did a substantial burnout.
I had several laps by the end of the run. I was just, when I was saving tire, I was trying to be careful on how much throttle I was using on the straights, how much throttle I was using going to the corners, um, things like that. Just trying to be aware of how much did I really need to use based on the pace that I wanted to run.
100%. Well, you definitely seemed like you had the your finger on the pulse here at Texas Motor Speedway, and I do believe that's your second win of the playoffs for sure. And of course, you are the winningest driver this season. I mean, how much does these wins you keep getting build confidence? You think for your championship hopes?
Man, it helps. I just try to take it one race at a time. Tonight, I mean, Shane was super fast, and he, unfortunately got caught up in a wreck early in the race. Couldn't make it back up to the front, and then, I mean, Derek pitted that last caution. He topped off of fuel and made it back to second. So I mean, who knows if he would have, not pitted there, maybe it's a different story. It might have been a little bit tighter battle there. I don't know. So I mean, it's just there's so many different guys that run up front every week. So I just try to take it one week at a time, try to figure out, who I'm going to be racing against up front, and try to call the right strategy to hopefully come out on top.
Well, definitely. You seem like you always have a really good strategy, and definitely take it humbly. Kind of not as much of an ego as a lot of drivers could have, but definitely great job to you, Patrick. I mean, you dominated here. I mean, 65 laps led. I mean, doesn't sound like a lot, but we had 16 different leaders here tonight, so that is kind of a lot for you to have led 65 laps out of it. Of course, you started in second place. You finished first. Talladega, though, comes up next week. That's going to be a tough one. I mean, it's not a easy track to dominate. What's the game plan?
Man, I think it's just survive to the end for me. I mean, super speedway racing is an area that I would like to work on. I feel like that's an area of improvement for me. So I look forward to those races. Just to try to, I mean, I try to learn as much as I can each race. So, man, we're gonna see. I think it's gonna be exciting. There's a lot of guys that are itching to get into the playoffs. It's the equalizer. Anything can happen. Anybody can win. So, I mean, I'm excited for it just to see how that shakes out.
We're definitely excited for it as well, Patrick. Well, after your win here tonight, who can we give a shout out to?
First off, you guys in the booth, you now. Always a pleasure running these races, and Kenny Powell for putting on the league. shout out to EPI and Team Conti, to those guys, for giving us a fantastic set here at Texas this week. So shout out to those guys. Also, Martin PC and C12 Design Shop, the guy that runs that, Colby Whipple. He did up a new paint scheme for me. Kept the same kind of color scheme, but just wanted something different. And he always delivers. So check out him for any paints. And really, again, just the guys at EPI and teammates, Matt, Shane, all those guys. I learn a lot from them week to week. So just appreciate them.
100%. Well, thanks for your time, Patrick, and congratulations once again, and we'll see you next week at Talladega.
10-4. Thanks, guys.
All right, that was Shane. That was Patrick Gitter. I almost said Shane Parrish. That was Patrick Gitter, driver of the 21. Of course, definitely doing a fantastic job here tonight, leading 65 laps. Definitely got to give a shout out to Derek Hyman. Big moves from that driver here tonight. Of course, Chris Johnson, fantastic performance from him as well. Brandon Pastelacqua just short of a podium here, but definitely some good points from him. But I think the driver I really got to give a shout outs to is J.C. Evans. I mean, what a run from him tonight. 5th place. Big Al, I think this is probably a career-defining run for that 9 car.
Yeah, definitely had a solid run. And like I said, he's shown a lot of promise, especially with his new promotion, if you will, getting picked up by the G&G guys. A lot of excitement, Brian, not only as we get ready to wrap up these playoffs, but especially going into next season. I mean, this entire series is a buzz. Having over 30 cars in the field tonight, pulling this thing off with only one caution outside of the stage breaks, and it just goes to testify just the caliber of talent that we're bringing in here, man. Because to be able to go out and run 60 plus laps in traffic and it not be a test run, that's pretty dang good. I don't care where you're at.
No, I agree totally. I mean, this is some of the best racing, I think, on the service for sure, right here in the ISCA. So we got to give a big shout out to Kenny Powell for all the fantastic work he does to, kind of bring in the best of the best. Of course, I should say, the best of the people that are not pros, I should say. But still, definitely fantastic to see all these guys, all the shops represented as well out here. The competition just being so close. And, it's just any time. I mean, you really have to almost be flawless out here in order to win a race. And, Patrick Gitter definitely showed that he is one of the guys that is methodical. And definitely loved every bit of it, though. We definitely appreciate everybody out there tuning in. Make sure you definitely tune in next week. Talladega is going to be on the docket. 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when the broadcast itself starts. Race itself goes green a little bit after, of course, 9:30. We're going to be ready at Big Bad Talladega at a 2.66 mile racetrack. Biggest oval, I do believe, on the NASCAR schedule. The only track that's bigger oval-wise is a fake track, Racing Super Speedway, but we won't go into that. But definitely looking forward to it for sure. There's going to be a lot of drivers, like Patrick Gitter mentioned, that are going to be wanting to win their way in to the playoffs, and I think it's going to be it's going to be a situation that's going to be ready to catch fire with any spark for sure. Definitely excited, though, for sure. With that, I do believe that brings us to the conclusion of tonight's broadcast. We appreciate everybody out there tuning in. Make sure you tune in next week. We'll see you next time. This has been the ISCA Thursday Super Cup Series.